Alright, adventurers. Secret messages and codes are always amazing fun to put in front of your players because it can create a great deal of euphoria at the table once they actually manage to figure out the code and solve it and be able to work out what the message actually is. And so that's why I love doing them. So here's 5 really simple ones that you can put in front of your players. So let's get into this. So yes, it is I, Nathaniel Gomezian, shopkeeper and proprietor of Gaming Treasure Chest, and as I said, today's video is about 5 simple code message kind of secret things that you can put in front of your players at the table that they can have a great fun kind of like deciphering and working out what the messages are. I have done several videos on this kind of thing before, so like I might show the thumbnails on the screen right now. I will do a playlist down below, so if you like the ideas which are in this video, you can go back and watch those because there's plenty of ideas of how you can hide messages and whatnot for your players to discover. As I say, and I will reiterate this, I think I said it in a previous video, but with these secret messages and whatnot, never make it something which is critical to the story that they need to find out what this is. I like this to be more hints and clues, like extra hints and clues they can find along the way, like towards what their goal is, but or like in terms of like if it's like a main quest line or a side quest line or whatever. But making it so that they have to solve this puzzle in order to continue can be a bit frustrating, especially like, you know, if players really can't figure out what the hell's going on here and like, you know, it takes them a great deal of time. So never make it so that they have to solve this, but it's fun things that you can put in front of them that I said, once they actually solve the things, the euphoria they can create around the table of them thinking, I've managed to solve this thing, is amazing. So let's get into some of these ways that you can hide secret messages from your players. So the first way that you can hide secret messages and whatnot from your players is actually a very interesting one that I found out very recently myself. And I'm going to admit, when I first saw it, I was like, there's no way that works. That's got to be like, you know, bullshit or whatnot like that. But it does actually work. All you need is a bowl of water, a hard surface to write on. I've got like a chopping board here, a pencil, and 2 pieces of paper which are about the same size. All you need to do is submerge one of the halves of paper in water, leave it in there for a little bit, take it out, put it down on the hard surface, and then put the other piece of paper on top of it, and with a pencil, write the message that you want to be able to hide from your players. Now, I will say here, the one in this video didn't actually work because you do have to make it a little bit more thicker. So a thick pencil or going over the message a little bit more just so that you make those lines a little bit more thicker is definitely what I would recommend. But once you've completed your message, simply take the second piece of paper off of the soaked piece of paper and let the soaked piece of paper dry. Once it's dry, it just looks like a normal piece of paper. It's very hard to be able to see the message. You might be able to make out certain indentations, like if you're looking very carefully, but you can't really see the message which is on the piece of paper until you resubmerge it in water. Once you resubmerge it in water, like you can see here, it does show up. Now, admittedly, I will say the camera doesn't 100% pick this up as well as, like, you know, you can see it in real life, but you can actually see the message again once you submerge it in water. So you could do things along the lines of, like, once you give this to your players, giving it with some kind of hint or clue or something like that, like a submerge me to find the truth or submerge me to find the way, you know, something along those kind of ways, like trying to subtly hint to some way to your players they have to like put this in water. It doesn't just have to be short messages, you can do longer ones like this one here. Yeah, again, apologies if you can't 100% make this out. As I said, you can actually see it. I don't know whether or not the camera's picking it up. I will say this, I wasn't going to say this out loud because I was going to say, oh, how did that get in there? But it does say, if you like what you see, please subscribe. Which if you are liking it, why not consider it? Anyway, so the second method of hiding a message from your players actually comes from a children's book. I say a children's book, it is actually legitimately a Sherlock Holmes book, but basically we've been reading this to our daughter. And when I say we, I mean my wife has been reading this to our daughter while I feed her a bottle. But there is a Sherlock Holmes novel called The Dancing Men, whereby there is actually like a secret code in here where it is displayed with a bunch of, like, I don't know whether you'll be able to see that or not. Like, I'll try and focus in. I'll try and take a picture and put it on the screen and whatnot so you can see it. But it's primarily a bunch of stick figures in different positions, and it turns out that they are creating a message. And that is why I have here for you a code that I've put up myself, whereby I've drawn a bunch of different stick figures and related them to letters so that you can make your own messages as well using these little dancing men. In the book, the end of words is signified by one man holding like a flag, but you can do it as them holding weapons and whatnot, as being like that is the end of each word. I do apologise that I did screw up with the X a little bit here. I did actually do one that I'd already previously done, so I did quickly cross that out. I do apologise. No, it doesn't look the best, but I will actually take a picture of this or try and scan this so I can upload this to the Discord, so like you can see it in the Discord and on the Patreon as well. So you don't actually have to pay for the Patreon. You can just join as a free member and gain access to all the stuff that I put on there. But yes, I will put this in both places, so it's readily available if you wish to use this one, or you can just copy it down yourself. Now, obviously, I said with this, you can leave this as like a cipher within a diary or in a desk drawer or in an enemy's pocket or something like that. You don't even have to give them the whole thing at once. You can rip it in half kind of thing, half at some point, half at another, so they can put it together and then work out what the whole alphabet is so that they can decipher these codes. And obviously, I said just like making what looks like a bunch of scribbles and like a little stick men on a page actually end up being messages, like secret messages or words that you want to give to your players within secret notes. So for example, if we wanted to use the dancing men to create a simple code that basically just says hello, this is all you need to do, where you're taking like a H, E, L, L, and O of the little dancing men. And so that is how it looks and how easy it is to be able to create a code using these dancing men. And for those of you who want a little bit of fun yourself, here is a stickman code that I've prepared for you. So if you want to pause the video and try and work out what this is, please, by all means, you don't have to. If you want to have that little bit of fun, it's up to you. I hope you got that. But anyway, so it's a really fun way to be able to leave messages for your players. You can make variants because technically we are in a fantasy world. If you want to give some of them little elf ears or like a dwarvish beards and whatnot, so you can actually make the stick figures more kind of maybe like, species or race, depending on like, which edition you're talking about, specific if you want to. So that could be a fun variation that you can put into this as well. The next idea is very simple again, and if you've read Mad Magazine, which I never have, but I do know that apparently they had at the back different ways of being able to fold the back to be able to reveal different messages and such. Folding pieces of paper in different ways and then putting a message on there and then hiding that message within other text is a way that you can hide messages from your players. You don't have to do very complicated folds. You can do if you want to, but this is a very simple fold in both ends and then folding them basically into the middle. And then you can write your message on here and then come up with something which you can put in there to kind of hide the message. I will admit I'm not doing this in the best possible way. Number one, the tripod is getting in my way in terms of being able to write with my hand. And also, I'm trying to quickly, on the fly, come up with something to write in between here. I definitely should have probably planned this out a lot better than what I did. It is simply that you're just trying to disguise the words that are part of the message into another message, and then once you do the folds, it can reveal that message to your players again. And of course, here's one I prepared earlier, and as you can see, once you fold the piece of paper, it reveals the secret message. Yes. Oh no, how in the world did that get there? Which, to be fair, if you've got this far and are liking these things, then why not consider that? Another very simple way of being able to hide messages is using a mirror. Now, Da Vinci famously, apparently, in his diary, used to make all of his messages in mirrored text and code. So if it's good enough for Da Vinci, it's good enough for your players. There is many different ways of doing this. When I'm doing this, I simply write the message I want to hide on a piece of paper, take it to a mirror myself, and use my phone to take a picture of the message in the mirror, and then take that picture from my phone, put it next to it, and write the message that you can see on the phone onto a piece of paper, because that is it mirrored. And so that's what you give your players. There are some players who might be able to just tell this is a mirrored image and be able to realize, oh, I've just got to put this in front of a mirror to reveal it. But you can put in a secret kind of thing of like a reflect on me to find the truth, or reflect on me to find the way, blah, 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 blah. Something along those lines as code to let them know that you just have to put this in front of a mirror. You can provide them with a little mirror, or if they just want to run to a mirror in the house, let them, because that just adds to more fun to the situation. But this is actually a really fun one to put in front of them, because the physicalness of being able to find a mirror and put it in front of and see that reveals the message. This one, for some reason, can create a lot of euphoria within players when they work this one out. So it's very simple, but can be very effective. So that's why I'm putting it in here. The fifth and final method within this video to be able to hide messages or codes from your players is with numbers. But this is a very specific way of using numbers, and that is like because if you just did A to Z as 1 to 26, that can be quite easy and boring. So this is a little bit more advanced. I will say this is a lot more advanced way of being able to hide messages, but it's basically using a mathematical equation called the nth term. You can Google that if you don't know what the nth term is. I am not a maths teacher and I'm not going to give you the full-on explanation of what nth term is, but I will give you the basics. There is creating a sequence of numbers which relates back to one singular thing, like the nth term being if you put n into the equation as any number, then you can make this happen. So basically, n in this instance is the number of the alphabet. So A is 1, B is 2, etc. So we're going to do a very simple one here, whereby it is 4n, which means 4 times n, and then take away 2. So, for example, with A is 1, so 4 times 1 is 4, and then minus 2 is 2. We go to B, 2 times 4 is 8, take away 2 is 6, and such as we make our way through the entire alphabet. I do apologize, I did make a mistake there. But you end up with the alphabet being in these random numbers and such. You can leave messages, and the secret way you can hint towards this with your players is you can actually either leave the nth term thing around in a diary saying this is how we're going to leave secret messages using a 4n minus 2. Your players might understand that, but if you do want to add a little bit more, you can put in we're going to take each number of the alphabet, times it by 4 and minus 2. If you want to fully go into it, if somebody explaining how the code works within a diary, or like I said, they can find in an enemy's pocket, or whatever way you want to present this. So basically, your players have to go through and work out each letter of the alphabet, what it is in this sequence, and then they can crack the code. You don't have to do 4 times n minus 2. You can do whatever number you want times the number in the alphabet, and you don't have to minus. You can also plus, so you can plus 3 to the result or whatnot like that. So there's many different ways that you can create this code. 4n minus 2 is just an example, and it's quite an easy one to be able to get, but you can put in front of your players whatever you want. So they can solve the equation for each of the letters, be able to work it out, and then you can leave messages like this, yet again, if you're leaving the message hello, simply taking the numbers HELLO, putting them separated with commas, and then if you were to add extra words, I put a dash in between to signify that that is the start of a new word. And yet again, if you want to have a little bit of fun, here is a numbered code that I've put for you guys to be able to solve. So if you want to solve that, please feel free to pause the video and work out what this message is. Yet again, you don't have to, but if you want to, please feel free to. But yes, that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Yet again, as I said, there are multiple videos that I have done on hiding messages and codes now. So if you want to check those out, as I said, I will leave the playlist down below because there are so many fun ways that you can do this. I'm sure I'll make many videos on this in the future because there are so many different ways you can hide messages and codes from your players. And as I said, the amount of fun and euphoria it creates at the table, because it is almost like a physical puzzle that you are putting in front of your players. Once they solve this, it really does make them feel genuinely smart and whatnot, that they'll be able to overcome whatever this kind of a secret messaging system is. And it's just an amusing thing to be able to bring to the table for your players that they will remember. So that's the reason why I create these things for you to enjoy. If you did enjoy, please consider subscribing to be able to watch more content like this. I make Dungeons & Dragons content all the time. So if this interests you, please consider that, as well as obviously there is the Discord server, whereby I'm trying to be able to foster a community of like-minded people who can come there with different puzzles and ideas, like DMs and players alike. Potentially hopefully get some games going at some point in that Discord. So don't feel forced, the option is there if you want it. And if you use any of these codes or have any ideas of codes yourself, I would love to hear them down in the comment section down below. So please feel free to leave them down below. As well as if you do want to support this channel financially, I did mention earlier on the Patreon, whereby I put up all these codes and things along those lines. I put this up on there for free. You can join the membership for free, but if you do want to do a paid membership, it is appreciated. But do not feel forced, that is up to you. As well as there's the Etsy store of gaming treasure chests. All the things on there are items that I have 3D designed and will print and send to you. They're all Dungeons & Dragons themed. So yeah, again, if you have the money and want to consider that, please feel free to. But as I said, don't feel forced. I'll make these videos regardless. So thank you so much for watching. Hope you had a great day. Until next time, goodbye.